the government, or people whom the government like, seem to be very angry.
Lenny come on the raid with you?
Sure about this?
No.
Is that a setup? Law turned up real fast.
I don't know. I don't think so. I'm starting to get nervous.
Think they followed us from Blackwater?
Maybe. They found me already near Horseshoe, but I think this lot was just locals.
I hope so.
Well, better get out of here. There's a bunch of government agents I met asking about you all across town. Yeah, them and a bunch of bounty hunters too, I think.
That's so.
Yeah. Yeah, but you don't seem too scared.
Guess not.
Well, they seem pretty mad.
Why haven't they hanged Sean, I wonder?
Think he's bait.
You better sleep with your eyes open.
You're gonna sleep with your chest open if you ain't careful, boy.
Next time, I'll slit your throat myself.
Some loose-tongued crook kept talking to the law.
I tried to kill Dutch first time I met him. Screwed the lot of them, I say. Whole world can go to hell for all I care.
Red Dead Redemption 2 tells the story of the decline and fall of the Van der Linde gang. The fall of the gang is certainly hastened by the actions of gang enforcer Micah Bell. In Chapter 5, following the gang's disastrous attempt to rob the Lemoyne National Bank in Saint Denis and subsequent return from Guarma, Micah becomes an informant for the Pinkerton Detective Agency. Agent Milton makes this clear when he flat out admits it to lead gang enforcer and the game's protagonist, Arthur Morgan, in Chapter 6.
Not all you boys have quite so many scruples. Old Micah Bell.
Micah? You mean Molly?
Molly O'Shea? Sweated her a couple of times, never talked a word, had to let her go. Micah Bell. We picked him up when you boys came back from the Caribbean, and he's been a good boy ever since.
Countless fans of this game have attempted to further link Micah Bell to the Van der Linde gang's massive robbery in Blackwater, West Elizabeth. However, despite the efforts to link Micah Bell as a snitch, specifically to the Blackwater robbery, there is only speculation and what-if scenarios. In fact, there is clearly another gang member who, through his actions, words, and behavior, has unequivocally demonstrated the fact that he is the original rat in Red Dead Redemption 2. Sean MacGuire was born in Donegal County in Ireland. His father, Darragh MacGuire, was a Fenian revolutionary who fought for Irish independence from Great Britain through covert guerrilla actions and violence. In 1860, he burnt down 3 large properties, which resulted in many deaths in Galway County. The senior MacGuire then fled to Canada and took part in a Fenian raid near Niagara Falls, which resulted in 8 people being killed. Darragh MacGuire would eventually return to Ireland and rose quickly in Irish Republican politics, even though he was a wanted man. The senior MacGuire spoke out against the parasitic aristocracy of Ireland, which included the large estate and landowners. Sean MacGuire would eventually be born at some point during this time and was raised in Donegal County. The British authorities would eventually catch up to the senior MacGuire, but he fled with his son to the United States. He was followed to America and was eventually shot and killed by British agents in Boston in June 1889. Sean was then sent to a reform school. However, this was not productive as the younger MacGuire was likely embittered and alienated due to his father's death. Sean first met Dutch van der Linde and Hosea Matthews at a saloon in North Elizabeth. After noticing Dutch's expensive pocket watch, Sean followed them into a dark alley and threatened to kill Dutch at gunpoint. However, Dutch laughed and dared Sean to shoot him, which he tried to do. But Dutch had apparently noticed Sean first and cleverly removed the bullets from Sean's gun. Dutch and Hosea would then recruit Sean into the gang. During the disastrous Blackwater robbery, in which the gang were ambushed by Pinkerton Detective Agency agents, bounty hunters, and police, Sean was with Mac Callender and claimed he was somehow knocked unconscious and did not know what happened to Mac, who was subsequently interrogated and executed by lead Pinkerton agent Andrew Milton.
Philosophy lesson. I've already heard it from Mac Callender.
Mac Callender.
He was pretty shot up by the time I got to him. So really, it was more of a mercy killing. Slow, but merciful.
Sean was apprehended and interrogated by Ike Skelding's bounty hunters. Sean claimed to have said nothing to the bounty hunters. Following the Blackwater disaster, in which the gang were ambushed and a massive shootout ensued, the gang fled north through West Elizabeth and into the northern state of Amberino. Traveling further north through the snow and harsh winter storms, they would eventually pitch camp in the abandoned mining town of Coulter. After the harsh weather calmed down, the gang would relocate south into the state of New Hanover, and specifically to a well-concealed location called Horseshoe Overlook, just outside the emerging cattle town of Valentine. It is during this time at Horseshoe Overlook in Chapter 2 that the gang is informed by gang associate Josiah Trelawney that Sean was apprehended by bounty hunters just after the Blackwater robbery and that he's being transferred to a federal prison. Arthur travels to Blackwater and just outside the settlement, specifically on a hilltop overlooking the town, he meets up with Javier, Charles, and Trelawney. Charles can't help but observe that the bounty hunters could be using Sean as bait.
Why haven't they hanged Sean, I wonder?
I think he's bait. Well, they want to trial him publicly.
It's very interesting and telling that Charles would make this observation. It certainly demonstrates that Sean wasn't trusted or accepted by everyone in the gang. Nonetheless, the four men then set out to intercept Sean and the bounty hunters, as Sean is being led off of a boat. Trelawney distracts two of the bounty hunters, so Arthur and Javier can quickly and quietly take them out. Arthur, Javier, and Charles then attack the rest of the bounty hunters, culminating in a shootout. As they fight their way through the bounty hunters, they eventually locate Sean, who is hanging upside down from a tree. The remaining bounty hunters are eliminated. Sean is cut free by Arthur, and the men quickly split up and make their way back to Horseshoe Overlook. Following Sean's rescue from the bounty hunters, a party is held for Sean at camp in which all of the gang's usual abusers of alcohol continue to abuse alcohol. As the evening turns into night and as the hours pass by, Sean gets exceedingly drunk and starts aggressively flirting with and somewhat forcing himself onto Karen Jones.
I admit you love me. Admit it, and I'll stop annoying you.
I'll admit nothing.
You love me.
I'd rather love a snake.
Come here.
Karen eventually acquiesces to Sean's advances and she leads him into John's tent where they have sex. From here, Sean is essentially a layabout at camp, loitering and generally being unproductive, often drinking with the occasional guard duty assignment. Sean is lazy, self-absorbed, a bully, boastful, and full of bluster with a big mouth. He lives for the glory and is also sexually aggressive around the gang's female members, often acting weird and creepy and forcing himself onto them, making them feel uncomfortable in the process. Sean in fact shares many traits and is quite similar to Micah Bell. However, if you pay attention, it becomes increasingly more evident that Sean is not particularly well liked or trusted within the gang and is in fact a source of aggravation.
How do you do?
From the sound of things, he was quite something.
Yeah, quite something.
My father, he always say to me, if someone disrespects you, fillet them with a knife. If you know what I mean.
I wasn't disrespecting. I was just looking after your mortal soul, honest.
Get out of here.
Hey, Arthur. Well, we know you ain't a vain man.
We know you ain't a wise one. Now get out of here. Do something useful.
Get up and do some goddamn work. I ain't interested. Get up and work.
Yes.
Piece of sack of crap, this kid is.
Sure. My lady,
Morning, Arthur.
what you thinking about?
Nothing much.
Okay, well, I'll leave you to it.
Sorry, ain't much company right now.
Nothing going on out here, Arthur.
Good.
Hey, send one of them girls down when you get a chance, would you?
Shut up.
Why don't you sit for a bit, Arthur?
I love you too, my sweet.
All right, that's enough for me.
You redheads are all the same.
Stop pretending. I'm married. It's enough now.
Oh, yes, certainly. She will.
What the hell was you singing last night?
Because, look at you.
What's wrong with me? I'm a good, honest son of the soil.
You're too good for me. Too real. I don't like good, honest sons of anything. I like superficial people.
You'll fall in love with me soon enough. All women do. We've all come a long way from home, eh?
It's America. Everyone's come a long way, or their parents did.
You don't like me very much, do you?
I don't have much opinion on you.
Ah, but you don't like me. I can see it in your eyes.
I don't know what you're talking about, Mr. MacGuire.
Ah, but you look down your pretty little stuck-up nose at me.
I guess I didn't come to America to meet boys who crawled out of the local bog, when I could have paid them to sweep me chimneys at home.
I knew it. You're a snotty-nosed little West Briton.
I am no such thing.
Of course you are. I see it now. You probably have a family with big farmhouses and titles. Right little madam she is, isn't she?
You can leave me out of this.
Nothing going on out here, Arthur.
Good.
Hey, send one of them girls down when you get a chance, would you?
Shut up.
Did you miss me, Miss Paris?
Oh, yeah. Quite dreadfully. Crying like a baby every night. Right beside myself I was. Ask anybody.
Really?
No! I miss the calendar boys. I miss Jenny. But the silver lining of it all is that there was no more of you. And then you come back. And that's when I realized that fate is a vindictive bastard after all.
Ah, you love me, really.
No. No, I don't.
Come here.
Jesus alive!
You keep your dirty, horse-shit-eating hands off of me, or I'll stick a knife in you, boy.
I love it when you talk nasty to me.
Sean's arrogance and bluster knows no bounds. He delights in taunting and intimidating the gang's female members. Sean believes he is quite clever as he struts through camp, but his lack of self-awareness is telling. Sean simply does not comprehend just how off-putting he is to other members of the gang.
Get up, You useless sack of shit! Get up! You want us all dead, do you?
I'm just...
Next time, I'll slit your throat myself. He's useless, that big sack of turd.
I knew that.
I'm sorry.
If Sean genuinely cared for the members of the gang, he would not be falling asleep on guard duty. So just like Micah Bell, Sean is full of bluster with a big mouth. He also delights in taunting and intimidating not only female members of the gang, but like Micah, Sean likes to act like a bully in order to project himself into something he's clearly not, a competent and intelligent gang enforcer.
I'm never drinking again. Until later today.
Come over here, O'Driscoll.
You know, I ain't no O'Driscoll.
Our old neighbor back in Donegal was called O'Driscoll. We couldn't stand him neither. You want some, big man?
Don't annoy me, boy.
Ah.
Everything okay there, Mr. Morgan?
How are you?
I wanted to thank all you boys for taking me in, for not killing me. Let me tell you, old Colm O'Driscoll, he's a rotten fella.
Not you as well. It's not Colm. Colm. It's Colm. In Ireland, we say Colm.
Well, he likes Colm. He's American.
Oh, he's Irish. Just look at his name. Just a dumb Irish bastard who can't pronounce his own name.
If you say so.
I do say so. Colm O'Driscoll. Say it now.
He likes Colm.
And you like breeding. So say Colm properly.
Colm.
That's better, boy. That's better.
Hey, look who it is, little Shawnee O'Screwloose.
What are you talking about? Truth horse, don't they?
Despite Sean's off-putting, egregious, and toxic behavior within camp and around other gang members, there was one gang member who tried to reach out to Sean in order to assist and teach Sean and improve his overall ability as a functioning human being. Lenny Summers, being the very intelligent, considerate, thoughtful, and competent gang enforcer, did his best with Sean. However, Sean has no interest in improving himself. He chooses to remain willfully ignorant and seems to ultimately reject Lenny's encouragement.
When we doing some reading?
I'm not now, Lenny. Please. I've almost got it anyhow.
I told you I'd have you reading. Okay, now come on. I can't do it if you won't let me try.
Look, what's the point of reading anyhow? Just put silly ideas in me head.
Exactly. That's the point of reading.
Another day, please.
Okay. But you can't avoid me forever.
Finally, when prompted by Lenny Summers, Sean will attempt to briefly explain what happened to him during the Blackwater robbery, and Sean leaves a very disingenuous and dishonest impression. Sean claims that he was somehow knocked unconscious just as things almost kicked off and the shooting started, which incidentally makes no sense, and it's highly implausible that either a Pinkerton agent or law enforcement officer would notice Sean and immediately conclude that they should knock him out, instead of, well, arresting him. Regardless, Sean claims that what kicked things off were that the gang were either spotted by the law or set up, and that it wasn't clear what happened. So again, if the gang were spotted, Why would the law choose to knock out Sean, while then moments later engaging in a fierce shootout? The Vanderlyn gang wasn't spotted in Blackwater. They were set up. In the Chapter 2 mission, Polite Society, Valentine style, Mary Beth learns of a potential train robbery opportunity and shares it with Arthur and Uncle. Uncle later shares the information with John, and John approaches Arthur. Arthur is hesitant as he's unsure of dealing with the train and how to stop it. John, however, has an idea in order to capitalize on this opportunity. Arthur then steals an oil wagon and hides it in an old rundown shack across the state border in Lemoyne. When Arthur arrives back at the rundown shack to meet up with John and Charles, he finds Sean, who can't shoot a bottle, and asks to join the raid. Sean elaborates that he found out about the robbery from John and wants to be a part of it. However, Arthur and John are steadfast in their refusal. Arthur maintains that he needs calmness and then actually compares Sean to Micah, stating that, "If I take you, I might as well bring Micah along." There are clearly trust and experience issues present here. Sean persists and declares that Arthur said he could join them. Arthur then relents. They climb into the wagon and head towards the location of the ambush. The men arrive at the site of the ambush. Arthur leaves the oil wagon in the middle of the train tracks in order to force the train to stop, and then tells the others to get into position. The train eventually arrives and screeches to a halt to avoid crashing into the oil wagon. Charles knocks out the train's engineer, Sean knocks out another, and the men make their way onto the train. Arthur and John enter the first train car from opposite ends of the car, instruct the passengers to stay calm and cooperate, and they begin robbing them of their money and valuables.
There you go. Let's make this quick, people! Come on! We ain't leaving till this bag's full!
Arthur and John then enter the second train car and find Sean waiting for them. Arthur orders Sean to go look for the baggage car and Sean leaves. As they enter the third train car, John tells Arthur that he can handle it and that he should check up on Sean. But as the two men enter the third train car, you can clearly see Sean standing outside on the unroofed train car, and he is not searching the following baggage car. Instead of being inside the baggage car and looting it, Sean is in fact waiting for Arthur. As he sees Arthur getting closer, Sean turns around and starts walking towards the baggage car. Arthur then asks Sean, "What is it? You alright?" Sean then answers, "Found the baggage car." Arthur then answers, "For Christ's sake, you haven't even taken a look yet?" It's very clear that Sean, instead of looting the baggage car, was waiting for Arthur to catch up. As Arthur says this, Sean enters the baggage car, turns around and nervously says, "There's probably something in here, Arthur," just as a lawman or bounty hunter suddenly appears and doesn't shoot Sean, but instead hits him with the butt of his rifle. Arthur shoots and kills the man inside the baggage car. A second man appears on top of the car, but Arthur immediately shoots him as well. Two more men emerge from the back of the baggage car, but again, Arthur quickly takes them out. Arthur then begins looting the baggage car while telling Sean, "This time I'll look, while you provide the cover," and Sean nervously answers, "I'll try my best, brother, but I'm seeing double here." This was clearly a setup. Not only was Sean not looting the baggage car, like he was supposed to be as ordered by Arthur, but he was in fact waiting for Arthur. He then oddly says, "There's probably something in here, Arthur," when of course there's going to be something in there. It was the baggage car. Sean is acting nervously and out of character. Then of course there are the four guards who just happen to be waiting in the baggage car, if they even were train guards in the first place. If these were train guards, they would likely either be accompanying the train's engineer when he exited the train to investigate the oil car on the tracks, and they would have probably heard the commotion in the train cars as the passengers were being robbed and likely would have gone to investigate. Or perhaps they were train guards who just happened to be taking a break in the baggage car when the train came to a screeching halt and when the passengers were being robbed. Just as Arthur finishes looting the baggage car, two lawmen ride up on horseback and order the men to exit the train. So, in the middle of the night and in the middle of nowhere, 2 lawmen just happen to arrive and are well aware that a robbery is occurring. It's quite clear that the authorities were well aware of this robbery in advance. Then, 2 more lawmen on horseback emerge from the trees behind the first 2. At this point, Arthur realizes that the men have no choice but to shoot their way out. As Arthur begins taking out the mounted lawmen, more and more of them continue to arrive and surround the train. With the initial first and large wave of mounted lawmen taken out, the men quickly call to their horses and flee the area, just as more mounted lawmen continue to arrive, once across the state border, far from the scene of the crime and out of sight of the lawmen. The men slow down and gather themselves, and openly discuss whether the train robbery was a setup, with lawmen arriving so quickly.
$100 here. Very nice.
You weren't even invited.
What now?
We still need a real big take, enough for us to get out of here.
Was that a setup? Law turned up real fast.
I don't know. I don't think so. I'm starting to get nervous.
Think they followed us from Blackwater?
Maybe. They found me already near Horseshoe, but I think this lot was just locals.
I hope so.
Upon completion of the 4th and final part of the main story mission, Pouring Forth Oil, new editions of the game's various newspapers will become available for purchase. Upon purchasing one of these new editions of one of the game's newspapers, there will be an article that specifically covers the train that was robbed by Arthur, John, Charles, and Sean. It is here that both Rockstar Games and the story's writers confirm that the law was indeed tipped off about the robbery. The news article literally states, "It was then that lawmen, having been tipped off to the robbery, arrived on the scene and confronted the outlaws." The writers couldn't be more clear in regards to who the original rat is in Red Dead Redemption 2. It's clearly Sean. Of those who knew of the train robbery opportunity, such as Mary Beth, Uncle, Arthur, John, Charles, and Sean, there is clearly one gang member out of those 6 who's not only a very shady member of the gang, but also has the worst character attributes or characteristics. Sean lives entirely for the glory and only cares about himself. He constantly makes this blatantly obvious. Sean is a massive thrill seeker who finds the outlaw life glorious, despite not being the most competent or reliable gang enforcer. As an outlaw, Sean is in way over his head and seems to get by through his big talk and bravado, but really is a fake and a wannabe. There is also another article featured in all of the new editions of the game's newspapers, which is of tremendous significance. Literally right next to the article regarding the train robbery is an article detailing the rescue of Sean from Ike Skelding's bounty hunters. The manner in which this article is written is very strange, and in fact, an objective news reporter simply would not write this way regarding an outlaw like Sean. For instance, part of the news story reads as follows. The shootout was fierce and several men were killed as a result. Bounty hunters had caught MacGuire, but were ambushed on a stretch of the upper Montana River by Confederates of the accused. Upon relating the circumstances of the escape, one lawman on the scene said that MacGuire repeatedly expressed the idea of jail as no terror to him, nor the idea of death by hangman's noose. MacGuire even once suggested to a sheriff that his rope wasn't stout enough and may break under his weight. Officials have called for action, saying the escape is yet another example of the inability of police to keep criminals incarcerated. This is clearly Sean talking here, or Sean dictating what be written about him in the news article. Sean is always seeking out the glory, and this story glorizes him into practically a legend. If you travel to Rhodes around the time that this mission, Pouring Forth Oil, becomes available to play and complete, you will very likely meet Joe Butler, an NPC featured in a series of 4 random encounters. 3 take place in 1899, and the last one takes place in the game's epilogue in 1907. Joe is a Confederate veteran of the US Civil War who hangs out at the side of the Rhodes General Store. He is very friendly with the game's protagonists, Arthur Morgan and John Marston. Upon meeting up with Joe and Rhodes for his third and final encounter with Arthur, which incidentally you can do, as Joe becomes available to meet in Rhodes in Chapter 2. In fact, the developers likely timed it this way, and it's highly plausible that Joe's third and final meeting with Arthur is set to approximately occur after the completion of the fourth and final part of Pouring Forth Oil. Joe's specific dialogue in his final encounter with Arthur warns him of the numerous federal agents and bounty hunters that recently descended upon Rhodes, who were specifically looking for Arthur. It is very plausible that the law would search Rhodes and the surrounding area, considering that the train robbery occurred relatively close to the sleepy southern town. The fact that this can and does occur after Pouring Forth Oil, Part 4, in conjunction with the availability of new editions of the game's newspapers featuring an article covering the train robbery, seamlessly ties the events of the main story together. From this point onwards in the main story of Red Dead Redemption 2, Sean MacGuire becomes more or less a background character within the gang, as his inclusion in story missions begins to wane. Sean is only featured in a small handful of missions by this point. Upon completion of Pouring Forth Oil, Sean is only featured in one camp mission in Chapter 3, as well as 2 story missions in that same chapter. The camp mission that you can complete with Sean in Chapter 3 is largely uneventful, as you travel to Lonnie's shack in north central Lemoyne and rob random outlaws of their secret stash of money. Sean incidentally repeats his claim that he was with Matt Callender in Blackwater, but was somehow knocked unconscious and lost track of Mac. In The Fine Joys of Tobacco, Arthur and Sean travel to Caliga Hall and infiltrate the large plantation. They hide in a barn and wait until nightfall, when they set fire to the plantation's tobacco fields and kill several guards on behalf of the Braithwaites, whose rivals are the Gray family based at Caliga Hall. And finally, in the mission A Short Walk in a Pretty Town, Sean is shot in the head and instantly killed in an ambush led by the Grays. Sean MacGuire was indeed the original rat in Red Dead Redemption 2. As a result of the disastrous Blackwater robbery, Jenny Kirk, Davey, and Matt Callender were all killed, while Charles Smith and John Marston were wounded. Matt Callender was first interrogated and then executed by lead Pinkerton agent Andrew Milton after the robbery. However, somehow Sean was apparently knocked unconscious and then apparently taken into custody, then was set to be transferred to a maximum security penitentiary. This was obviously a ruse, and Charles clearly and correctly identified Sean as bait when they went to rescue him. Sean was selfish, weak, and a wannabe, who sought the glory that his father experienced. He wasn't in it for the gang, but rather Sean was in it for himself and the glory. He didn't care about anyone else. Sean was indeed bait and a plant for the Pinkerton Detective Agency. He used Sean as a mole in the gang, first in the Blackwater robbery, and then in the train robbery in Lemoyne. Sean learned about the train robbery from John, but John didn't want Sean to be a part of it. Regardless, Sean just shows up where Arthur stashes the oil wagon and insists that he comes along. Then, during the robbery on the train, Arthur orders Sean to search the baggage car, but Sean doesn't and instead waits for Arthur to show up. He then enters the baggage car while acting nervously and is hit by the butt of the rifle by a man hiding inside the baggage car with 3 other men who were also hiding, and they may or may not have been train guards. Then, not long afterwards, wave after wave of mounted lawmen arrive at the train. Following the robbery, John asks Arthur straight up if the robbery was a setup, with lawmen arriving so suddenly upon the scene of the crime. After this mission is completed, new editions of the game's newspapers are available for purchase, and a news article about the train robbery confirms that the lawmen were indeed tipped off about the robbery. Neither Arthur Morgan, John Marston, Charles Smith, Mary Beth Gaskill, nor Uncle were snitches, as they were all loyal to one another. Meanwhile, right next to that same article in all of the game's newspapers, there is another article, mind you a completely subjective and highly suspicious article, about the rescue of Sean from Ike Skelding's bounty hunters, and the article completely glamorizes Sean as a badass outlaw. The evidence is clear and concise. Sean MacGuire was the original rat in Red Dead Redemption 2. He cut a deal with the Pinkerton Detective Agency and ratted out the gang's plan to rob the ferry in Blackwater, and again ratted out the gang when Arthur, John, and Charles planned to rob the train when it passed the state border from New Hanover into Lemoyne. Everything points to Sean. It wasn't Micah Bell, it wasn't Abigail Roberts, and it wasn't Molly O'Shea. With Sean MacGuire, there is no speculation or what-if scenarios. There is clear and concrete evidence that Sean MacGuire was indeed the original rat of Red Dead Redemption 2.